Okay, we are live. Hi guys, I'm here with Jodi, one of our own. You guys have probably seen Jodi commenting or posting in the group for the last couple years and gotten to know her. She's out in Hawaii, but today I wanted to interview her about the process of quitting her day job and where she's at now. And if you don't know, she's also part of our Academy 100K club. So I think what she has to say is going to be of a lot of value. And so Jodi, walk us through, walk us through your short story.
Oh, thank you for the introduction. Like Andrea said, my name is Jodi Trujillo. I am originally from California, and my family and I made the huge leap over the ocean in 2019 over here. I'm on the island of Oahu. And so I had a party business in California, thriving. I still had a day job though. I worked in the school system as an ABA therapist. I continued that job as we moved here, but I intentionally was like, in 2 years, I want to quit this job. I want to go full time, um, and luckily, I mean, it's good and bad. I mean, when the pandemic hit, a lot of opportunity opened up for creatives, and so uh, I took a lot of Andrew's advice. I did a lot of lives, and I joined Thumbtack, which kind of helped me create more revenue as a child book illustrator. And so I started doing that. And then I actively started looking for um, business groups to join to get my name out there so I can paint murals, do windows. And I really wasn't looking to start the paint parties up again. I was just wanted to focus on my fine art part of it, trying to get my art out there. And one of the opportunities came up to be a vendor for a market at one of the hotels resorts here at the Marriott. And I applied, and when they saw my website and I specialize in um, paint parties, they asked me to start that up there, and that was in 2021. And quickly, I was able to go full time quickly from there. But I think if you look at it, when I started my paint party business 2011 officially, that's probably like the actively start of trying to go full time. But you have a family, so you're just like kind of weighing like uh, keep the full time day job, and then this extra money is really good. I'm able to like balance both, and uh, but I really actively, I think if I be honest, when I joined your group, the Artist Academy, even before it was the Artist Academy Advanced, when it was the basic one, I joined that in the beginning, and just joining all your challenges and all the tips you gave about making sure you're going live and you're posting a lot, um, kind of like added more toward me looking into making this, hey, I want to do this all the time type of job. So, but yeah, into 2021, like I was pretty much catapulted into my dream because I had to because of the pandemic. So, but it was a good thing because I already was actively getting involved, putting myself in the place of walking into opportunities that came through. So like the vendor opportunity. I mean, I thought I was just going to sell my art, and then they asked me to start their paint party business. The paint party, uh, what they offer for the resort people. So
Do you still do that?
yeah, I do that 4 nights a week now, and I'm still able to sustain our income here with that. And I also got involved with the iconic Art on the Zoo fence out here. It's been around for 70 years, and it was
What is it?
created by Art on the Zoo fence. It's
Okay.
a group that was started in 1953 of artists that wanted to have a kind of like an outdoor gallery venue where artists can come and hang and sell their art, and they don't have to worry about gallery price cuts, or how the gallery takes 50%. It wasn't like that. We make the prices and we sell. Um, so I joined it because it was like $10 just to do that on the weekend, and I quickly got suckered into being the president because I really wanted to. The pandemic really um, hurt it really bad. It used to be really thriving, where a group of artists would just hang their art along this one street where the zoo fence is, and you just see like a row of artists every weekend hanging and selling their art. And so that's what we're trying to build back up to. so um, so that's what I do on the weekends, and then during the week I do the paint parties at the Marriott, and I do paint private parties too. Those paint parties at the Marriott really has opened up because a lot of locals walk through the Marriott, and so I have my cards, I pass them out, and then I get called for private parties.
Awesome. So you go and do private or group paint parties at the Marriott. How many people are in attendance every time?
I've kept it off at 18, um, and then because we've had some like um, finance debates and stuff. So I kept it on 18, and I told them I'm open to doing more, but we got to talk about the price again. But so it's 18, and it's me. I could do it by myself, but I make sure I have an assistant because you never know. You always have those crazy uh, guests that come through that had a few drinks already.
Yeah. Yeah. And have you had to hire somebody to work with you there?
Yeah. So I do always have an assistant. So and sometimes, most of the time, about 2 nights a week, I don't paint. I have two assistants that teach for me, and they work together 2 nights a week, and the other 2 nights it's me and somebody else.
Awesome. And then you also did a mural at the Marriott too, remember?
I did a mural there that also opened up from mural. So they opened up a heritage room where they wanted to share the culture of Hawaii, and especially that property there, because that used to be the property of Queen Liliuokalani. And so I created a mural that told the story of her property, and like right there, the beach coming out of the Marriott, that whole beach area strip is called Queens Beach. So it was just a story about how Queens Beach became Queens Beach.
Awesome. So
So
how is your income broken up? So I love to talk about numbers. Is it you're getting most of your income through paint parties and then a little bit through murals and a little bit through custom
it was
commissions or
I would say my bread and butter are my paint parties.
okay.
So the Marriott and doing the private paint parties are my bread and butter. I also teamed up with another business. She does like fancy picnics. So it's like she has these beautiful little like uh, Japanese style tables, and she takes them like to the park, to the beach, and she sets everything up with. It's just gorgeous. Well, we teamed up and we put on paint and picnic parties. And so she has these beautiful little charcuterie board set up, for each guest. And then after everyone eats, I come and I set up for the paint parties, and that's been really good too. So um, that's really lucrative.
Paint and picnic parties. I love that. That's so cute. Maybe
Yeah.
for anybody who's wanting to get into paint parties, adding something unique like that to where, like, I mean, there's a local farm here. They do goat yoga, and so instead of just
Oh,
doing
that's so
hang out
fun.
with goats or yoga, yeah. So maybe I think this is a good conversation to spark an extra additive idea to adding something to an idea like a paint party or whatnot, kind of like so window season is about to come up, and I always like to dress in costumes when I'm painting windows because it just like an elf or something, because it just adds more attention to it, and you just I feel like it's more marketable, and that's what we want to be, right? Is more marketable. And that picnic and paint party, it's just that's I want to go. That seems like a good
Yeah,
fun girls' day.
it is. You know, it's like when you don't want to pay to rent to have a studio space, you are creative and use what you can to make your studio. So outdoors is out here, especially, is perfect. So, so that's what we've been doing. Um, you know, I connecting with other businesses is so essential. Um, if you're trying to get your name out there, you know, and your business, whatever you're doing in art. I have a local art cafe, and I paint with coffee. So I make coffee tropical art, and I use the local coffee here, the Kona coffee, and so that's been a really big, and um, and so I have them at a local cafe, and I just display my artwork, and I have a price, and I sell them, and that's been going good too.
That's so unique. I love that. I have a friend actually, so she is in the personal chef business, but she's wanting to get into more artsy stuff. And so she's been uh, experimenting with painting with food, like coffee and like beet flavored stuff. And I love that. I'm so into anything unique, and that's not just, you know, normal painting on a canvas right now.
Yeah, yeah. It's one thing with coffee though is uh you need to make sure you spray it because it will deteriorate, it will mold.
Oh, what do you spray it with?
The Krylon, you know, the spray, um
The
the clear coat.
fixative stuff?
Yeah, yes, yeah,
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, I'm
yeah,
gonna tell my friend that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because she does, and she doesn't want to wake up finding bugs eating her paintings either.
Ew.
Oh,
Yeah,
I hear.
I'm experimenting with spray paints and doing clouds. I think I used to maybe saw the live in the academy the other day. I did was doing spray paints, and I had to use the fixative on top of that to really seal it because there's so much spray paint that's just sitting on top of it. I noticed it's just like a dusting because
Hmm.
I bumped up against it, and some of the spray paint came off, and it looked bad, and I was like, oh no, and so I had to use the fixative stuff. So yeah, I guess it's okay. So next question, I would love to give a timeline because I get a very common question of, "Hey, I am just starting my art journey. What is a reasonable timeline to where I could go full time?" And that's a great question, right? And I always tell people like, "Well, the more effort you put into it, the quicker the timeline is." And they're like, "But what do you mean exactly?" And so I just love to give an example of, another artist who like, when did you start taking your art seriously? Is there like a time, a date, or an event that happened? And then how long did it take you to go full time? And then maybe how long did it take you to like really start making good money? Like, well, what's a good timeline for people to think about?
I think, well, first of all, it's all on the person. Like,
Yeah.
I think I've always taken my art seriously, and I started painting murals in 2003.
Wow.
My biggest, yeah, my biggest, I I got, my friend gave me a book on Wyland. I love ocean art. I love the ocean, and so I just wanted to do murals, and so when I started to do them, I started doing them for free, and I think I did like three free, and then after that, um, you know, it was like a learning experience of how much you're going to charge. Um, but I would say like for like 7 years, I was really busy. But like I said, I worked for the schools, and I had my kids were little, so it's all depends on the person. Um, you know, my kids were my main important thing, and art is just something that really uh, added to, making me happy. And so, but I didn't want that to overshadow my kids. So I kind of just had a good balance. Um, so it all depends on the person. I actively started looking into going to full time in 2011 when my paint party business like just went crazy, and and I and my kids were old enough I could actually like kind of focus on it more. But I still had my day job, and so I taught my girls how to paint with me. So my first assistant was my oldest daughter, Alyssa, and she would do the paint parties for me. And then I quickly grew. I had a team, and so Alyssa would focus on the children paint parties, and I would focus on adult paint parties. And I was the only travel paint party business in Southern California in my area. So we were busy a lot on the weeknights and the weekends, and and then out here, of course, my first employee was Emma. She was like 15, and she was like my assistant. Now she teaches. So uh, but it just depends on the person and how where your priorities are. Like, where are you going to put your focus? If you have a family and you kind of want to balance it, um, like positioning yourself to see it through. And I know it's like kind of vague. Like I said, like I got here, I got involved with business, groups. I didn't know anybody, so I got involved with business groups. I quickly started visiting all the small cafes, drinking their coffee, building a rapport, and then I would come and bring my art and say, "Hey, would you be interested in showing my art?" Or, you know, "Would you be interested in me doing a pop-up um, out in front of your cafe?" A lot of places are totally open to that. So, so I started to do a lot of that first before I even got the Marriott gig.
Awesome. So let's see. Let me look up my questions real quick. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. So what fears did you have going from having that steady paycheck to having it completely rely on your own creativity? Because I read in the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert to not put so much pressure on your creativity, because then it doesn't become this fun, genuine thing. And so I think that's partially a fear of going full time too quickly. It's like you become desperate, and it's like, where's the line of quitting your day job and then relying on your creativity, but still having fun with it? So what are some fears that you had around taking that jump?
Um, the fears of getting burnt out, of not liking doing paint parties. I mean, it can be a lot. Um, when I first started at the Marriott, I was there 5 nights a week, and then 7 nights a week, and now I'm down to four. And when I got up to 5 and 7 nights a week, it was really a lot. I really had to rely on finding some assistants that like kind of had the same kind of creative and enjoyed creativity and enjoyed creating, so that I can teach them to teach for me, so I wasn't always the one outputting, and had some downtime and go draw whatever I want by myself. So you have to make sure, like, whatever you decide to do, you want to make sure you don't burn yourself out in what you're doing. Um, and don't worry about trying to grab all the jobs at the same time, because that's horrible. I remember I tried to balance like three different books at the same time, and that was not easy. And toward the end, I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm over it." And I don't want to ever feel that way when I'm illustrating a children's book. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
So you making sure that you don't act so desperate when you get these jobs that come up. You are, "Oh yeah, I have a job now. I could put you on the schedule and we can start in 2 weeks." That shows that you are like busy, and people are going to want to stay with you because they see that you're a busy person. They like your art. Like this book um, project I'm doing is going to be a series for this author, and they're paying me. Plus, I'm going to get royalties. So, so
That's so
this,
true. I was coaching this girl one-on-one to get her art business started here recently, and um, I was talking to her about scheduling this new customer really quickly, and blah, blah, and she's like, "Well, I can't do it tomorrow, or I have stuff to do this weekend, blah blah." And I was like, "Oh no. Like I don't expect you, and they don't expect you to do it tomorrow or this weekend. Like book them out. It's totally okay to have somebody wait 2 weeks or how. I mean, get them in as soon as you can and ask what their deadline is and when they need it done, but don't expect to drop everything just because you have one job. And I think it's so exciting for people in the beginning. They're like, "Oh my gosh, they want me to paint for them," and like I and they want to, right? And so but yeah, there's something to be said for somebody that you can put them on a wait list, because I told her, you know, if you're good, you're not going to be available tomorrow. Right? Like you're gonna have people, you're gonna have to wait in a line of some length.
right, yeah. And so I remember first starting out, especially, when you said, "Oh, try thumbtack," and I was like, at first I was like, "This is not working." All of a sudden, all these children's book authors started popping up. They need the art, and I'm like, "I'm gonna grab it all." And I just was like, "Oh, I can't do this. I'm gonna go nuts," So, so yeah, just making sure that you don't like act like you're not, like, when you give a kid, a dessert and they just like eat it all at the same time because they think they're not going to ever have it again. Don't act like that, you know.
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
So, and I try to keep that in mind every time I get uh, job inquiries and stuff. Um, I'm like, okay, but will I have work after I'm done with this? Will they wait for me? You get that fear. But
Mhm.
if they're looking for you, then they haven't found anybody. So, um, so that's one of your the one things that you have to like remind yourself. They came looking for you. So, um,
Yeah.
so that
Okay.
that's your advantage.
Yeah. So really quickly, we've done a whole other live here about on the podcast in previous years about getting children's illustration jobs and or illustration jobs via Thumbtack. But just to touch on this again, I was on a one-on-one call this past week with an artist who wanted to get into illustrations, and she's like, "I have no idea how to get jobs." I was like, "Oh, I do. Thumbtack." Like, and I was like, "Hey," and so I pointed him to your podcast a while ago. But just to kind of touch on it again, it so if somebody wants to do children's books, because that sounds like so much fun, what is your recommendation for getting on Thumbtack and getting jobs? Because I told her maybe, do a couple illustration pages of your own and your own style, but in slightly different styles, put them up there for examples. That way the people can see, and then they'll contact you or you guys will match. Do you have anything else to add to that?
I would do that. Luckily, I was already teaching like how to create your own comic to kids, and so I had a lot of illustrations of my dog, and so I used that my stories for my examples on Thumbtack, and so I wasn't sure if anybody would like my style, but people like my style. It's very childlike, very it gives a room for imagination. So and so that's what you do is just draw in your own style. Draw like what attracts you to children's books in the first place. Like it gives you that nostalgia of like when you're a kid and the imagination. So draw according to that.
I love that. You have me like anytime I think of something or I hear something fun like this, I imagine in my head, I'm like, oh, maybe I could do a little fun, just quick book with my son Sky and his little mini farm full because we have a bunch of peacocks
Yeah,
and chickens and
you have
stuff.
peacocks, chickens,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be very detailed. I could like yours, I could keep it simple and fun, and there's room for imagination when you don't draw in every little detail. So, yeah, and I think that's a good tip too, when putting together things to put up on Thumbtack to give examples, because photos are what's gonna draw people to you. They need to see your work before they hire you for it, and yeah, just it doesn't have to be super complicated. You can just put something up that's cute, but it doesn't have to be super realistic.
Right, yeah. You don't want to do that because, I mean, honestly, people on Thumbtack are looking for like the cheapest artists to do this. And
Oh,
so,
really? Okay.
yeah. And so, you know, you don't want to put like a super detailed children's page and then them are like, oh, well, will you do it for $40 a page? And you're just like, this took me, it takes you just as long as it would take you to, come up with a sketch for a painting.
Yeah.
Um, so you want to make sure you price yourself the worth of your time. And
What's it?
always have a, 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 a edited limit, um, meaning like revision limit. So whatever you send to the author, they are allowed like two revisions, after your book is all done, to do two revisions because you can't sit there and keep recreating a page for them every time they change their mind. So two revisions, that comes with your price. You don't want to go less than $50 a page if you're going to start. And then if they do go over the two revisions, then you're going to charge them for a whole new page.
Oh, okay. I like that. Okay. And what's a good pay range per page that you usually work within? Is it between 50 and $100 per page or
Yeah, it's
okay.
50 and $100 to page. $100 is when they're like want like super detailed or a lot of content in their picture. Like they just have a lot going on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's okay. This is all I have today. Do you have any last bits of advice that you want to give? Any tips that for new artists who are thinking about quitting their day job and taking that jump, and it's just so scary, but it's so worth it? Like,
Okay, so um, I be true to yourself on what you like to paint. Like when you paint from your what really speaks to you, people are gonna love it. Okay, I like to do try different mediums and different styles, but don't make it if it's not easy for you to do, don't do it. Just stay with your style. Don't try to copy another style to get more customers. You want to stay with your style and build on it. And that's my biggest advice because you just don't want to go around trying all these things. You're like, it's not working, it's not working. Just stick with your style. Go ahead and try different styles, but don't try to make that yours if you're not like already established in your own style.
I gotcha. And yeah, I think that works for murals and I mean, children's book illustrations and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
everything.
it.
Yeah, I have my own style with the children's books now, and this is what I stick with. I mean, if somebody does ask me to go out of that wheelhouse, I can, but it'll be a little extra.
Yeah, so true. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on and interviewing and telling us your story. And I really appreciate you being in the academy and giving tips on illustrations and paint parties. You are a master at both of those things. And I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate because anytime anybody asks anything about that in the Artist Academy, I'm like, Jodi, you like I'll like tag you or I'll send them to you. And like you have helped Samantha create her own book too. And it's just I appreciate you so much. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. So if you guys are listening, you guys just joined, like guys need to go through um all the videos and classes that Andrea has already given. She's the one that told us Thumbtack. Like I just followed what she told us. So I mean, you got her book. I got her book, and I bought the audio. So you guys have so much like there to follow. You just create your own way through it.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, we can give some tips right now, but there's something else to going in and watching a full like 30-minute video on literally the tips on how to get jobs via Thumbtack. Like we're like, oh yeah, go to Thumbtack here. But the trainings go way more in depth of like paint parties and all the things. There's so much to know. Like you've taught me so much about paint parties where I was like, that's a great idea. Like I've even done my own paint party, and
That's
you're giving
awesome.
me like more tips than I had realized. It's like, oh, okay, like there's something to learning from people who've already done it. But yeah, so we love to learn from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You too. Have a good day. So hold on a second. I'm
You
gonna
too.
click
Okay.
end stream and